Let's dive into Faber Piano Adventures, the most popular piano method book series on the market. Does it live up to its title? Hey there, if we haven't met yet, I'm Phoenix and I'm the Tattooed Piano Teacher. And I've been using the Piano Adventures method books for almost 2 decades. In my previous video, I talked about my 10 criteria or categories that I use to compare different method book series. And I'm going to be using those 10 categories to compare Piano Adventures to other piano methods that I have used personally. Stick around to the end to find out how much I pay for Piano Adventures method books. Spoiler alert, it's not full price. First is pacing. I describe the pacing of the Piano Adventures series as average. And I don't mean this in a bad way, like it's not good, it's average. What I mean is that the way that the books progress and the difficulty of the songs, the concepts, all of that is paced at a perfect rate for the average student. So I find that for most of my students, the speed at which Faber Piano Adventures moves along is perfect. So I mean average in the best way possible. Quick disclaimer. Everything spoken in this video is entirely my personal experience and my opinion, and I realize that other teachers may have different experiences and different opinions about this method book series, and that is completely okay. Okay, moving on. Number 2 is positions, and what I mean by this is how the hand positions are handled. Piano teacher humor? I don't know. How the hand positions are introduced, how much variety there is, or consistency, and then later on, how the key signatures are introduced, scale patterns, that sort of thing. And I feel like Piano Adventures has kind of set the standard for the positions of the beginning levels. So they start out with basically like thumb share C, middle C position, and variations upon that, which I call neighbor notes, where one thumb moves over one way or the other from middle C. And then halfway through the first level of Faber, the primer level, the left hand moves down and they learn the C pentascale. And this is pretty standard for most piano method book series. Again, the positions, the way they're introduced, the variety, and the consistency are all pretty balanced. So for the average student, it's just enough to challenge them, but there's enough repetition in where their hands are going that they don't feel overwhelmed by every new song. Third is notation. And again, Faber Piano Adventures is pretty standard in the way that they introduce notation. Like many beginner methods, they start with songs in the black keys that are sort of pictured on the page, off-staff notation, in other words. Then they introduce the white keys, but it's still off-staff notation. And then after a few songs of that, about halfway through the primer level book, they do introduce notes on the staff. And the notes are introduced kind of like one by one, and they use a guide note system. From there, new notes are introduced periodically and reviewed over time. So pretty standard, and again, it is just the right pace, just the right balance for the average student I found in my experience. I think it's also worth noting that the Faber Method series does include one lead sheet project or one song that they learn in lead sheet form from the level 2A lesson book and on. Before we move on to number 4, if you found any value or found anything interesting so far, please hit that like button. It helps me know what kind of videos you all like to see. So number 4 is theory. The Piano Adventures series offers a separate theory book for every level, and it's pretty comprehensive. They also offer optional note speller books that are designed to go with the Faber method and introduce the notes in the same order. There's very little theory included in the actual main lesson book, so they really do rely on that separate theory book in order to introduce and review all of the theory concepts. Again, I find that the theory pacing is pretty balanced. It's not like a theory assignment of 3 pages long every single week, and it's not like they are missing out on any big concepts. It's pretty standard. Number 5 is technique. Again, the Piano Adventures series offers a separate technique book for every level. There is also some technique incorporated into the main lesson book, such as a short warm-up sometimes before the song. Some pages are dedicated to scale and chord patterns, and oftentimes there are appendices in the back of the books with like a full scale pattern in all of the keys. Once again, I feel like the technique pacing is also very balanced. It's not super heavy on the technique, but it covers all of the basic skills that students will need to know to play most types of music. And the Fabers also offer a dedicated scale book, book 1 and 2, which is very intensive with lots of transposing and chord patterns. And they also offer these scale folios, or skill sheets they call them, and they are color-coded to match the level, and my students really enjoy these for something tangible and separate from the lesson book that they can learn everything on it and achieve it. Number 6 is the levels, or the ultimate path. So we're looking at the overall long-term effects of the entire series as a whole. The Faber Piano Adventures series offers 8 levels. So there is primer level, then 1, 2A and 2B, 3A and 3B, and then 4 and 5 is the last level. Once students make it through all the levels, including level 5, they will end up at an intermediate level. They will be able to play classical music, jazz music, and modern styles. And the Piano Adventure series is, again, really balanced. It doesn't lean towards one genre or one technical skill more than another. Students really do get exposed to a lot of different types of music as they're moving through the books. Number 7 is aesthetics. And the aesthetics of the Faber Piano Method series, I would say, is improving with time. They are actually systematically going through their lesson books and making improvements. They are updating titles and lyrics to be more inclusive, and they are updating the pictures that go with the songs to be more colorful and really more interesting. So I would say that the lesson books are on their way to being very appealing for kids. One thing I'd like to mention is the brightly colored covers. My students are always asking me, what's the next color? What's the next color? What comes after blue? And then what's after orange? And they look at my bookshelf and they follow the colors. So I think they really did a brilliant job at color coding the covers, because it really does motivate students to get to that next color or level. In fact, in my studio, we don't even call it like level 2A or level 2B. We'll call it the blue book or the orange book. Number 8, let's talk about the song selection. So I kind of alluded to this in the path category, but there is a really good balance in the Faber books that kind of cover all their bases. You get some classical music in there, you get a little bit of the different jazz styles, you get some modern music. We already talked about how there are lead sheets introduced. And I also want to mention the supplementary line of books offered by the Fabers. This is an extensive line of options to really customize the student's repertoire. You want more jazz? They've got a jazz book. Your student loves radio hits? They have a couple choices for that. They want to compose movie music someday. Then you want to go with the popular supplemental book that has a lot of movie and TV songs in it. Ragtime? They've got it. Hymns? Sure. So really, whatever your student is into, you can add in that supplemental book and really customize their experience. The one that's been a huge hit in my studio the last few years has been the Disney book. In fact, this last spring, we had an entire recital of all Disney music, and it was a big hit. Let's talk about the pricing. Now, I mentioned at the top of the video that I was going to explain to you how much I pay for Piano Adventure books, but first let's talk about the list price. So the main lesson book for each level is $9.99. And then the main core books, such as the technique book, the theory book, and the performance book, are all $8.99 per book. You can add on supplemental books, you can add on scale book, you can add on note speller. I won't go over those. I'm just going to stick with the 4 core method books. So we're looking at $36.96 plus tax. And this brings us to the 10th category, which is availability, which Faber gets the highest possible score for, because you can literally get these books anywhere. You walk into any music store, you'll be able to find them. They are the most popular piano method book out there. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on any sheet music site. You can get them directly from the pianoadventures.com site. You can get them from Hal Leonard, which is the publisher. So they are so easy to get. So how much do I pay for Faber Piano Adventures? Well, what if I told you that I get my set of 4 core books for only $24 instead of the $36.96 that I mentioned? I found a site that gives you 35% off of the major piano method books, and it's free shipping if you spend at least $25. They are not sponsoring me. I just need you to know about this website if you're looking to purchase some piano method books online. You can check out this video where I talk more about what that website is, or you can find the link in the description. If you enjoyed this review and you want to check out another piano method book series review, next up I am looking at the Alfred's Premier Piano course. So we'll see you on the next video.